Demonstrators packed the State House earlier this week to call for the return of rent control. Some of them say that housing in Massachusetts has become so expensive they might have to move out of state. Well, the problem is that rent control in Massachusetts was banned in a statewide ballot initiative in 1994, but there is a new push to bring it back. And the co-author of a bill to do just that is with us now. State Representative Nika Elugardo from Jamaica Plain. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You have a bill that would bring back rent control, at least in some form. As it regards rent control, what would your bill do?
It provides the option, so it doesn't bring it back, it removes the ban. So the current ban says that we recognize that market rates are best for the public. And I think that's an outdated concept. It's wildly false in today's market. And so it gives towns and municipalities the opportunity to choose a different kind of rent control. We're not trying to recreate the mistakes of the 80s, right? It's not your grandfather's rent control. It's the kind of rent control that can be targeted to localities. It can be targeted time-bound.
Voters banned rent control, as we were saying, in the 1990s by a 51 to 49 margin.
I was there for that.
What did we see as a result of housing prices from that and evictions?
Right.
And why do you think we should bring it back in some form?
Well, my husband and I were here around that time. We had a rent control apartment, right? And we're both MIT grads. We have a high earning capacity. But when homeowner, our landlord, said, look, I'm going to increase the rent by $300 over a $900 rent.
And that was right after this passed in 94.
That was probably 96, right? And so, you know, that was unaffordable for us. So we had to move, and we had the ability to move, but it was very difficult. And we kept chasing rents. We moved about 10 times over the course of 10 to 15 years, trying to stabilize. And really what happened is our income increased. So we never really would have been able to find that stability unless we had been able to almost double our income over the last 20 years.
And despite that limit, there's going to be fierce opposition to this bill. There already is.
Sure.
Landlords and the real estate industry are pushing back. They point out that we, in some places, have a housing shortage right now, and they argue that rent control will lower the supply, not increase it, and make that problem worse. What's your response to that?
Well, I understand two aspects of their concern. So one is you're looking at what happened in the 80s, and you're looking at what happened in the 70s, and you're saying we don't want to recreate those problems. Two is they might be looking at what's happening in other states. There's actually a movement towards rent control. So states like Oregon and California have already made some advances in this regard. What we're saying with our bill is we want to learn from those mistakes. We want to have a smarter, more targeted form of rent control that's locally determined. But also, if we only did rent control, and even if we only did tenant protections, that would be a mistake. So that's the second way that I agree with them. But what's happened is a lot of housing advocates and legislators have put together a creative package of proposals that include making supply access more easy, making it easier to build, easier to develop, easier to do zoning reform. With a package that includes those elements, rent control and tenant protections are not only helpful but necessary.
Governor Charlie Baker is opposed to the bill as well, as I'm sure you know. He described it as, quote, exactly the wrong direction we should go. He's called instead for these changes to the zoning laws to make it easier for towns and municipalities to build more.
Sure.
Where do you stand on his proposal, and what do you say to his criticism of your bill?
I agree that we need those things. Where I disagree with the governor is that it should be the state's decision what towns and municipalities do. They need all the power we can give them. They can choose not to do rent control. They can choose not to do the other tenant protections that we've added into the bill. Every provision they can ignore, or every provision they can adopt. Their voters get to decide. As I said, voters have evolved over 25 years, and they need the opportunity to do that, and they need the power to exist locally.
Is the rent control portion of this bill going to pass? Do you think it will?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. A year ago, I would have said, no, it's going to take us 4 years to get this passed. But I also would have thought that my public housing bill would have taken at least 3 years to get passed, and I'm feeling really good about that right now. I think the appetite for innovation and the need for municipalities to take control of the situation in locally contextualized, targeted ways is so high right now that we could possibly see some version of a local option.
We'll be following where it goes. State Representative Nika Elugardo, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure.